The SOS that summoned the most sophisticated warships ever built. Part 1 Captain Elena Vasquez crawled through the dark hallways of her ship. The walls were hot to the touch, and sparks fell from broken lights above her head. Her research ship, the Harmony's Edge, was dying around her. 3 days ago, everything had been normal. Her crew of 43 people had been studying a dead planet in the Kepler 442 system. They were scientists, not soldiers. They came here to learn, not to fight. But the aliens had other plans. Elena remembered the moment when her ship's warning system started screaming. Lieutenant Davis had been at his station, checking rock samples from the planet below. The ship's computer had suddenly detected massive energy readings approaching fast. Elena had rushed to the bridge just as the alien ships appeared on their screens. The alien vessels looked wrong. They were not made of metal like human ships. Instead, they seemed to be alive. The hulls moved and pulsed like giant sea creatures. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Elena had never seen anything like them in all her years exploring space. "Unknown ships, this is Captain Elena Vasquez of the human research vessel Harmony's Edge," she had said into her communication system. "We are on a peaceful scientific mission. Please identify yourselves." The answer had come in perfect human language, but the voice was not human at all. It sounded like metal grinding against stone. "Primitive species detected. Your vessel contains useful biological material. Prepare for harvesting." Elena's blood had turned cold. "We are not hostile. We mean no harm to anyone. Please, we just want to leave peacefully. Resistance is meaningless. Your technology is inferior. Submit and your death will be quick." That was when the attack began. The alien weapons were unlike anything humans had ever faced. They did not fire energy beams or missiles. Instead, they seemed to reach into the Harmony's Edge and turn the ship's own materials against itself. Metal walls began to melt. The ship's hull started to crack and bend in impossible ways. Worse, the weapons created some kind of deadly radiation that made Elena's crew sick within hours. Elena had tried to fight back, but her ship's weapons barely scratched the alien hulls. The research vessel was not built for war. It had only basic shields and simple laser guns meant for clearing space debris. Against the alien technology, they were useless. Now, 3 days later, Elena was the only crew member still able to walk. 26 of her people were already dead. The rest were lying in their beds, too sick to move. The ship's doctor had told her that they all had radiation poisoning. Without proper medical treatment, they would all be dead within a week. Elena reached the communication room and pulled herself up to the control panel. Her hands were shaking and she could taste blood in her mouth. The radiation was affecting her too. She did not have much time left. The alien ships were still out there, waiting. They had damaged the Harmony's Edge enough to keep it from escaping, but they had not destroyed it completely. Elena thought they were playing with her crew, like cats playing with mice before eating them. She turned on the long-range communication system and checked the power levels. The ship's main power was failing, but the quantum communication array still worked. This system could send messages instantly across the galaxy, using something called quantum entanglement. Elena did not understand how it worked, but she knew it was humanity's most advanced communication technology. Elena had to decide what message to send. She could try to contact Earth, but that would take too long. Earth was hundreds of light years away, and even with the fastest ships, help would not arrive for months. Her crew would be dead long before then. But there might be other human ships closer. The Human Consolidation Navy had fleets spread across dozens of star systems. Some of them had to be nearby. Elena just had to hope that someone would hear her message and come to help. She thought about what to say. This was probably the most important message she would ever send. It needed to be clear and simple. Any human ship that received it needed to understand immediately that people were dying and needed help. Elena remembered her training at the Naval Academy many years ago. She had learned about old Earth traditions, including the maritime distress signals used by ships on the ocean. There was one signal that every human knew. 3 simple letters that meant a ship was in terrible danger and needed immediate rescue. She activated the transmitter and began to speak. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the research vessel Harmony's Edge. We are in the Kepler 442 system. and we are under attack by hostile alien forces. Our ship is badly damaged, and most of my crew is dead or dying from radiation poisoning." Elena paused and took a deep breath. Through the communication room's small window, she could see one of the alien ships floating in space nearby. Its living hull was pulsing with strange lights. "The aliens have weapons we cannot fight against. They want to harvest us like animals. We cannot escape, and we cannot defend ourselves. To any human vessel receiving this message, we need immediate assistance." Elena's voice grew stronger as she spoke the final words. "This is an official distress call. SOS, save our souls. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us. We are running out of time." She turned off the transmitter and slumped back in her chair. The message was sent, traveling instantly through quantum space to communication arrays across human territory. Now all she could do was wait and hope that someone would answer. Elena did not know that her desperate call for help was about to reach the most powerful military force humanity had ever created. Hidden in the Tau Ceti system, a fleet of warships waited in the darkness. These ships had been built during humanity's greatest war, when Earth's government had spent unlimited money and resources to create the ultimate weapons. The ships were so advanced and so dangerous that the government had decided to hide them away after the war ended. They were too powerful for peacetime, too sophisticated for normal use. The fleet had been sleeping in space for 10 years, waiting for a threat serious enough to wake them up. Elena's SOS was about to provide that threat. As she sat in the dark communication room, Elena heard footsteps in the hallway outside. She turned and saw Dr. Martinez, the ship's medical officer, stumbling toward her. His face was pale, and there were dark circles under his eyes. "Captain," he said weakly, "I wanted to tell you. We lost 3 more crew members in the last hour. The radiation is getting worse. I don't think any of us will live more than 2 days." Elena nodded sadly. She had expected this news, but it still hurt to hear it. These people were her responsibility. She had brought them out here to study rocks and dead planets. Now they were all going to die because she could not protect them. "Did you send the message?" Martinez asked. "Yes," Elena replied. "I sent out an SOS. Maybe someone will hear it." Martinez managed a weak smile. "SOS. I haven't heard anyone use that signal in years. Do you think it will work?" Elena looked out the window at the alien ships again. "I don't know, Doctor, but it's all we have left." She did not tell him that she was probably going to die before any rescue could arrive. She did not tell him that human ships might not be strong enough to fight the aliens anyway. Instead, she just held on to a small hope that somewhere in the darkness of space, someone had heard her call for help and was already on the way. The SOS that summoned the most sophisticated warships ever built, part 2 deep in the Tau Ceti system, far from any trade routes or colonies. 17 massive warships floated in perfect formation around a space station the size of a moon. These ships did not look like normal human vessels. They were too big, too sleek, and too dangerous looking. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering that had cost more money than most planets made in a year. The largest ship, called Prometheus Unbound, was almost 5 kilometers long. Its hull was not made of ordinary metal. Instead, it was built from programmable matter that could change shape and strength, depending on what the ship needed. The hull could become harder than diamond to stop enemy weapons, or it could reshape itself to move faster through space. Inside the ship, computer systems hummed quietly in the darkness. These were not normal computers. They were artificial intelligence systems so advanced that some people wondered if they were actually alive. The ship's AI, named Aria, could think and learn and make decisions faster than any human ever could. Admiral Marcus Kane stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Unbound, looking out at his fleet through the massive viewing window. At 65 years old, Kane was a veteran of the human consolidation wars. Half of his body had been replaced with cybernetic parts that let him connect directly to his ship's computer systems. His left eye was artificial and could see things that normal human eyes could never detect. Kane had commanded this fleet for 12 years, but for the last 10 years they had done nothing but float in space and wait. The government had decided that the 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet was too powerful to use during peacetime. The ships were designed to fight wars that might destroy entire star systems. With no major enemies to fight, The fleet had been ordered to stay hidden in the Tau Ceti system. Kane's crew of 3,000 people lived and trained on the ships, always ready for action that never came. Many of them had never seen real combat. They practiced fighting simulated enemies and ran training exercises. But they all knew it was not the same as a real battle. The fleet's second-in-command, Commander Sarah Chen, worked at her station on the bridge. Chen was 42 years old and had served with Kane for 8 years. She was responsible for coordinating all 17 ships in the fleet and making sure they could work together perfectly in battle. "Admiral," Chen said, looking up from her computer screen. "We're receiving some strange readings from the long-range communication array." Kane turned away from the window and walked over to Chen's station. "What kind of readings?" "It looks like a quantum entanglement transmission, but it's using an old emergency protocol. The computer says it's an SOS signal." Kane's artificial eye focused on Chen's screen, analyzing the data faster than his human brain could process it. An SOS signal was serious business. The last time anyone had used that particular emergency code was over 200 years ago, during the early days of human space exploration. "Where is the signal coming from?" Kane asked. Chen's fingers moved quickly over her keyboard, pulling up star charts and navigation data. "The Kepler 442 system, sir. That's about 4 light years from here. The transmission is from a ship called Harmony's Edge." Kane knew that name. The Harmony's Edge was a research vessel, not a military ship. It carried scientists and explorers, not soldiers. If they were sending out an SOS, something very bad was happening to them. "Can you get a clear copy of the message?" Kane asked. Chen nodded and pressed a button on her console. Suddenly, Captain Elena Vasquez's voice filled the bridge of the Prometheus Unbound. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the research vessel Harmony's Edge. We are in the Kepler 442 system, and we are under attack by hostile alien forces. Our ship is badly damaged and most of my crew is dead or dying from radiation poisoning." The bridge crew stopped what they were doing and listened carefully. This was the first time any of them had heard about humans fighting aliens. Elena's voice continued. "The aliens have weapons we cannot fight against. They want to harvest us like animals. We cannot escape and we cannot defend ourselves. To any human vessel receiving this message, we need immediate assistance. This is an official distress call, SOS, save our souls. Please, if anyone can hear this, help us. We are running out of time." The message ended and the bridge was quiet for several seconds. Kane could see the shock on his crew's faces. They had trained for many different types of battles, but they had never prepared to fight alien enemies. "Area," Kane said, speaking to the ship's AI system. "Analyze that transmission. I want to know everything about it." A holographic image of a woman appeared on the bridge. This was how Area chose to show herself when she talked to the crew. The AI's face looked calm and intelligent with glowing blue eyes. "Admiral," Arya said in her precise electronic voice. "The transmission was sent 18 hours ago. The quantum signature indicates that the sending equipment is severely damaged and may fail soon. I detect traces of unknown radiation in the background of the message." Kane nodded. "What about the location? How long would it take us to reach the Kepler 442 system? Using our fold space drives at maximum power, we could arrive in approximately 43 hours, Arya replied. Kane thought about this. 43 hours was a long time when people were dying, but it was also incredibly fast for traveling between star systems. Normal human ships would take weeks or months to make the same journey. Commander Chen looked worried. "Admiral, we don't have any information about these aliens. We don't know what kind of weapons they have or how many ships they're using. This could be a trap." Kane understood Chen's concern. The Seventh Fleet was incredibly valuable. If something happened to these ships, humanity would lose its most advanced military technology. But Kane also knew that his ships had been built for exactly this kind of situation. "Area, what is the combat status of the fleet?" Kane asked. "All 17 ships are fully operational," the AI responded. "Weapon systems are functioning at 100% efficiency. Our programmable armor is optimized for unknown threats. All crew members are healthy and ready for combat operations." Kane made his decision quickly. He had been a military officer for 40 years, and he knew that some things were more important than being safe. When humans called for help, other humans had a duty to answer, no matter how dangerous it might be. "Signal all ships in the fleet," Kane commanded. "Emergency stations. Prepare for immediate departure to the Kepler 442 system. We have received a distress call from human civilians under attack by hostile aliens. The bridge crew began working frantically, preparing the ship for departure. Throughout the fleet, thousands of crew members ran to their battle stations. These men and women had trained for this moment for years, but they had never expected it to actually happen. "Admiral," Chen said as she worked at her station, "what if our weapons aren't effective against alien technology?" Kane looked out at his fleet one more time. These 17 ships represented the pinnacle of human military engineering. They had been built to fight enemies that no one had ever seen before. The ships could adapt to new threats and change their tactics in the middle of a battle. "Then we'll learn how to make them effective," Kane replied. These ships were designed to handle the unknown. Today we find out if the designers were right. As the fleet prepared to leave, Kane thought about Captain Vasquez and her crew. They were counting on him to save their lives. He did not know what they would find in the Kepler 442 system, but he knew one thing for certain. Humanity's most sophisticated warships were about to face their first real test. The 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet began moving toward their fold space jump coordinates. After 10 years of waiting, they were finally going to war. The SOS that summoned the most sophisticated warships ever built. Part 3. The journey through fold space took exactly 43 hours and 12 minutes. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the Prometheus Unbound as his fleet emerged from their dimensional bubble into normal space. Immediately, the ship's sensors began scanning the Kepler 442 system, looking for the Harmony's Edge and the aliens that had attacked it. "Contact," Commander Chen announced from her station. "I'm detecting the research vessel bearing 27 Mark IV. Distance, approximately 50,000 kilometers." Kane studied the tactical display that appeared in the air above the bridge. The Harmony's Edge was there, but it was not alone. A massive alien ship held the research vessel in some kind of energy beam. The alien vessel was unlike anything in human databases. "Area, full sensor analysis," Kane ordered. The ship's AI immediately began examining the alien vessel with every scanner the Prometheus Unbound carried. "Admiral, the alien ship is approximately 3 kilometers in length. Its hull composition is unknown, appearing to be a hybrid of biological and mechanical materials. I am detecting 17 human life signs aboard the Harmony's Edge. All appear to be in poor health." Kane felt relief knowing that some of Captain Vasquez's crew was still alive. But he was also concerned about their condition. 18 hours had passed since Elena's message, and Arya's scans showed that the humans were getting weaker. "What about the alien ship's capabilities?" Kane asked. "The vessel appears to be using technology that manipulates space-time directly," Arya replied. "I am detecting energy patterns that do not match any known physics models in our database. The ship seems to exist partially in normal space and partially in other dimensions." Kane nodded. This explained how the aliens had been able to defeat the Harmony's Edge so easily. If their ships could exist in multiple dimensions at once, normal human weapons would have trouble hitting them. Commander Chen looked up from her station with worry on her face. "Admiral, I'm detecting smaller alien vessels moving around the main ship. Count shows 12 of them, each about 500 meters long." Kane watched as the smaller alien ships appeared on his tactical display. They moved in strange patterns that seemed random at first, but Kane recognized the behavior. These aliens were acting like a hive mind, each ship controlled by the same intelligence. "Sir?" came a voice from the communication station. "The alien vessel is trying to contact us." "Put it on screen," Kane ordered. The main viewing screen flickered, and suddenly the bridge crew was looking at something that would haunt their dreams. The alien was part insect and part machine. Its body was covered in metallic plates, but underneath Kane could see organic tissue. Multiple eyes reflected the bridge lights, and when it spoke, its voice sounded like metal being scraped against stone. "More primitive mammals have arrived," the creature said in perfect human language. "You will surrender your vessels for study, or you will be harvested like the others." Kane stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. "This is Admiral Marcus Kane of the Human Consolidation Navy. You are holding human citizens against their will. Release them immediately or face the consequences." The alien creature made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was unlike any laughter Kane had ever heard. It was cold and mechanical, without any humor or joy. "Your crude metal shells cannot harm ships that exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously," the creature said. "We have studied your species. You are inferior in every way. Your technology is primitive. Your bodies are weak. Your minds are simple. We will harvest your biological material and use it to improve ourselves. Kane had heard enough. Throughout his military career, he had fought against human enemies who wanted power or territory or resources. But he had never faced an enemy that saw humans as nothing more than raw materials to be used. You made a mistake, Kane said calmly. You hurt humans who were doing nothing wrong. You killed people who meant you no harm, and now you think we're going to run away because you have better technology. The alien creature's multiple eyes focused on Kane with interest. You will resist? Good. Your fear will make the harvesting more efficient. Kane smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just spotted prey. We're not afraid. We're angry, and you're about to learn why that's much worse. Kane turned away from the screen and faced his crew. Cut the transmission. All ships prepare for combat. Implement Pattern Omega. The bridge crew began working with practiced efficiency. Throughout the fleet, thousands of crew members prepared for battle. This was what they had trained for during 10 years of waiting. This was why humanity had built the most sophisticated warships in known space. Admiral, Commander Chen said, Pattern Omega has never been tested in real combat. We don't know if it will work against alien technology. Kane watched as his 17 ships began moving into position. Pattern Omega was the most complex battle formation ever developed by human military planners. It required perfect coordination between all ships in the fleet, with each vessel playing a specific role in the attack. Area, Kane said. Begin tactical analysis. I want to know everything about those alien ships. Find their weaknesses. The AI's holographic form appeared on the bridge, her blue eyes glowing brighter as she processed massive amounts of data. Admiral, the alien vessels appear to shift between dimensions to avoid attacks. However, this ability seems to require significant energy. I believe they cannot maintain dimensional shifting while also using their weapon systems. This was exactly the kind of information Kane needed. Can we force them to choose between defense and attack? Yes, sir. If we attack them from multiple directions simultaneously, they will not be able to shift dimensions and fight back at the same time. Kane nodded. This was why Pattern Omega might work. The formation was designed to attack a single target from 17 different angles at exactly the same moment. Even if the aliens could exist in multiple dimensions, they could not be in 17 different places at once. All ships. Report status, Kane commanded, one by one. The captains of the other 16 ships in the fleet reported that they were ready for battle. These were humanity's finest officers, commanding humanity's most advanced warships. They had trained together for years, and they trusted each other completely. Kane looked out at the alien fleet. The creatures thought they were superior because they had better technology, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Humans had spent thousands of years learning how to work together, how to coordinate their efforts, how to fight as a team instead of as individuals. Begin the attack, Kane ordered. What happened next would be remembered as the moment when humanity announced its presence to the galaxy. The 17 ships of the 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet moved with precision that seemed impossible. They did not attack like normal warships, firing weapons from long range and hoping to hit their targets instead. They attacked like a pack of wolves. The Prometheus Unbound and its sister ships suddenly occupied positions around the alien fleet that should have been impossible to reach so quickly. Their programmable hulls reconfigured themselves for optimal combat performance. Weapon systems that had been designed to fight unknown enemies came online for the first time. The lead alien ship tried to shift into another dimension to avoid the attack, but it found human ships waiting for it there too. The humans had studied theoretical physics not just to understand the universe, but to weaponize it. They had built weapons that could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Kane watched as his fleet's primary weapons, called Heisenberg cannons, fired at the alien mothership. These weapons did not shoot energy beams or explosive missiles. Instead, they fired packets of quantum uncertainty that forced probability waves to collapse in specific ways. When the quantum packets hit the alien ship, entire sections of its hull simply ceased to exist, their atoms scattered across multiple realities. But the real advantage was not the technology. The real advantage was that the 17 human ships fought as one. When the aliens attacked one ship, 3 others moved to protect it. When an alien vessel tried to escape, Human ships were already waiting at its destination. The aliens were individually superior, but they could not understand how the humans coordinated so perfectly. Each alien ship fought alone, while the humans fought as a unified force. As the battle continued, Kane realized that his fleet was winning. The aliens had better technology, but they did not have better tactics. They were apex predators trying to hunt a pack, and the pack was fighting back. The SOS that summoned the most sophisticated warships ever built. Part 4. The battle raged for 3 hours, but it felt like days to Admiral Kane. From the bridge of the Prometheus Unbound, he watched as his fleet engaged in the most complex combat operation in human history. The alien ships were powerful and dangerous, but they were learning a hard lesson about fighting humans. The alien mothership, the massive 3-kilometer vessel that held the Harmony's Edge captive, was taking heavy damage. Sections of its living hull were dissolving under the assault of quantum weapons, but the creature ship was trying to regenerate the damage even as the battle continued. "Admiral," Commander Chen reported, "the alien vessel is attempting to drain power from the Harmony's Edge to repair itself. If this continues, the research ship's life support systems will fail completely." Kane clenched his jaw. The aliens were using Captain Vasquez's ship as both a shield and a power source. Any direct attack on the mothership might kill the very people he was trying to rescue. "Area." "I need options," Kane said. The ship's AI appeared beside him, her holographic form flickering slightly, as she processed millions of calculations per second. "Admiral, I have identified a weakness in the alien tractor beam system. If we can disrupt the energy flow at precisely the right moment, we can free the Harmony's Edge without destroying it." "What do you need?" "I need 3 ships to coordinate a simultaneous attack on the beam emitters, while the rest of the fleet keeps the alien vessels busy. The timing must be perfect or the feedback could destroy both ships." Kane looked at his tactical display. The alien fleet was fighting desperately now, using weapons that bent space and time in ways that should have been impossible. Several of his ships had taken damage, but their programmable hulls were adapting and repairing themselves even during battle. "Chen, signal the destroyers, Achilles, Hector, and Ajax. Tell them to prepare for precision targeting on my mark." As his officers worked to coordinate the rescue operation, Kane thought about what he was seeing. The aliens were clearly more advanced than humans in many ways. Their ships could exist in multiple dimensions. Their weapons could manipulate matter at the atomic level. Their technology was centuries ahead of anything Earth had produced. But they had one critical weakness that Kane was exploiting. They could not work together effectively. Each alien ship fought as an individual, making its own decisions without coordinating with the others. When one alien vessel was damaged, the others did not move to protect it. When the humans concentrated their fire on a single target, the alien fleet did not respond as a unified force. Kane had spent 40 years studying military history, and he knew that superior technology alone did not win wars. The side that could coordinate better, adapt faster, and work together more effectively would usually win. "Even against superior individual opponents, sir," came a voice from the sensor station. "I'm detecting massive energy buildup in the alien mothership. It looks like they're preparing some kind of superweapon." Kane felt a chill run down his spine. "Area analysis?" "The alien vessel is drawing power from its entire fleet," the AI reported. "They appear to be preparing a weapon that will destroy everything in this system, including themselves. It seems they would rather die than be defeated by what they consider inferior species." This changed everything. Kane had been planning a careful, precise rescue operation, but now he was facing an enemy willing to commit suicide rather than lose. He had to act quickly, or everyone in the system would die. "All ships, emergency speed," Kane commanded. "Execute rescue operation immediately. We're out of time." The 3 destroyer ships moved toward the alien mothership at maximum speed, their hulls reconfiguring for maximum protection against the tractor beam feedback. At the same time, the other 14 ships in the fleet concentrated all their firepower on the alien vessels that were feeding power to the mothership. Kane watched the tactical display as his ships raced against time. The energy buildup in the alien mothership was reaching dangerous levels. Whatever weapon they were preparing, it would be ready to fire in less than 10 minutes. "Destroyers in position," Chen reported. "Fire," Kane ordered. 3 quantum cannons fired simultaneously at the tractor beam emitters holding the Harmony's edge. The alien mothership shuddered as its energy systems were disrupted. For a moment, the research vessel was free, drifting in space between the two fleets. "This is Admiral Kane to Captain Vasquez," Kane transmitted on emergency frequencies. "Your ship is free. Can you move under your own power?" The reply came back immediately, and Kane was relieved to hear Elena Vasquez's voice, though she sounded weak and tired. "Admiral, this is Captain Vasquez. Our engines are damaged, but we can move slowly. Most of my crew is unconscious from radiation poisoning. We need immediate medical assistance." "Understood, Captain. Move away from the alien fleet as quickly as possible. We're coming to get you." But even as Kane spoke, the alien mothership was completing its weapon charge. Aria's sensors detected massive gravitational distortions around the creature ship. Whatever it was preparing to do would affect the entire solar system. "Admiral," Aria said urgently, "the alien weapon appears to be some kind of gravity bomb. If it detonates, it will create a black hole that will consume this entire system." Kane made the hardest decision of his military career. "All ships maximum firepower. Target the alien mothership. We have to destroy it before that weapon fires, even if we take heavy casualties." The 17 ships of the 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet turned all their weapons on the alien mothership simultaneously: quantum cannons, plasma torpedo launchers, gravity manipulators, and weapons that existed in 17 different dimensions all fired at once. The alien ship's living hull began to dissolve under the massive assault, but the creature was incredibly tough. It absorbed damage that would have destroyed any human vessel and kept fighting. Worse, the other alien ships were trying to protect their mothership, throwing themselves between it and the human weapons. "Sir," Chen reported, "the weapon charge is at 90%, 30 seconds to detonation." Kane watched as his ships poured everything they had into the alien mothership. The creature ship was dying, but it might complete its weapon charge before the humans could destroy it completely. Then something unexpected happened. Captain Vasquez's voice came over the communication system again, but this time she was not talking to Kane. She was broadcasting on all frequencies, including ones the aliens could hear. "Alien vessels," Elena said, her voice strong despite her injuries. "I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the research vessel Harmony's Edge. You attacked my ship and killed my crew because you thought we were weak and primitive. But you were wrong about us." Kane wondered what Elena was doing. This was not the time for speeches. "You see those 17 ships that are destroying your fleet?" Elena continued. "They came here because I sent out a distress signal. 3 letters, SOS, save our souls. I called for help and they answered. They traveled across space to rescue people they had never met, and they are willing to die to save us." The alien mothership's weapon charge reached 95%. "That is what you don't understand about humans," Elena said. "We are not just individuals. We are a species that takes care of each other. When one of us calls for help, the rest of us come running. You thought you were fighting 1 research ship and 17 warships, but you were actually fighting all of humanity." As Elena spoke, Kane realized what she was doing. She was buying time, distracting the aliens during the critical final seconds of their weapon charge. It was a small thing, but sometimes small things made the difference between victory and defeat. The distraction worked. For just a few seconds, the aliens focused on Elena's transmission instead of their weapon systems. It was enough. The combined firepower of the human fleet finally broke through the mothership's defenses and reached its central power core. The alien mothership died in silence, its weapon charge dissipating harmlessly into space. Around it, the smaller alien vessels stopped fighting and began to retreat, their hive-mind connection broken with the death of their mothership. Kane allowed himself to breathe again. The battle was over, and humanity had won its first war against an alien species. The SOS that summoned the most sophisticated warships ever built. Part 5. 3 months after the battle at Kepler 442, Admiral Kane stood before the United Earth Council in Geneva. The massive assembly hall was filled with representatives from every human colony and settlement across known space. Today, Kane would deliver his official report about humanity's first contact with hostile alien life. The rescue of the Harmony's Edge had been successful. All 17 surviving crew members had been saved, though it took weeks of treatment in the fleet's medical facilities to cure their radiation poisoning. Captain Elena Vasquez had recovered completely and was sitting in the gallery today, Watching Kane give his testimony, Kane looked out at the assembled representatives and began his report. Members of the Council, 3 months ago, the 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet received a distress call from the research vessel Harmony's Edge. That single transmission changed everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. Kane activated a holographic display that showed images from the battle. The counselors watched in fascination and horror as they saw the alien ships for the first time. The hostile species we encountered possessed technology far beyond our current capabilities, Kane continued. Their ships could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Their weapons could manipulate matter at the atomic level. Individual for individual, ship for ship, they completely outclassed us. A counselor from Mars colony raised her hand. Admiral, if they were so superior, how did you manage to defeat them? Kane had been expecting this question. The aliens made a critical mistake. They assumed that superior technology would guarantee victory, but they failed to understand humanity's greatest strength, our ability to work together. Kane changed the holographic display to show tactical diagrams of the battle. The alien ships fought as individuals. Each vessel made its own decisions without coordinating with the others. They were apex predators trying to hunt alone, but humans are pack hunters. We have spent thousands of years learning how to cooperate, how to coordinate our efforts, how to fight as a unified force. Another counselor, this one from the Europa Mining Collective, stood up. Admiral, what threat do these aliens pose to human space? Should we expect more attacks? The immediate threat has been eliminated, Kane replied. We tracked the fleeing alien vessels to their home system and found it abandoned. It appears they were nomadic raiders, not representatives of a larger civilization. However, our encounter with them has revealed something much more important. Kane paused and looked around the assembly hall. We are no longer alone in the galaxy, and not all of our neighbors are friendly. The hall erupted in worried conversations. Representatives whispered to each other about the implications of hostile alien life. Kane waited for the noise to die down before continuing. I am recommending immediate changes to our military and exploration policies, Kane announced. The 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet will not return to mothballs. Instead, it will be expanded and given a new mission, protecting human space from external threats. Commander Chen, who was sitting at the witness table next to Kane, stood up to present the technical details of their proposal. We are requesting funding for 12 additional fleets like the 7th, Chen explained. These fleets will be stationed at strategic points throughout human territory. Each fleet will be equipped with the most advanced technology we can produce, and they will be ready to respond to any distress call within 48 hours. An elderly counselor from Earth asked, Commander, won't this militarization of space change the fundamental character of human expansion? We have always been explorers and scientists first, warriors second. Kane answered the question himself. Counselor, the aliens we fought called us primitive mammals. They wanted to harvest us like animals. They saw our research vessel as nothing more than a source of biological material to be used for their own purposes. Kane's voice grew stronger as he continued. But they learned something that day. They learned that when humans are threatened, when someone sends out a call for help using 3 simple letters, the most sophisticated war machine ever built will come to their rescue. Kane gestured toward Elena Vasquez in the gallery. Captain Vasquez sent out an SOS, and 17 of humanity's most advanced warships answered her call. Not because she was important or powerful, but because she was human and she needed help. The assembly hall was completely quiet now. Everyone understood what Kane was saying. That is who we are, Kane said. We are the species that answers distress calls from strangers. We are the people who will cross the galaxy to rescue someone we have never met. We explore space not just to learn about the universe, but to help anyone who needs our help. Kane activated one final holographic display. This one showed a map of known space, with human colonies marked in blue and the location of the alien encounter marked in red. The aliens thought they were attacking one small research ship, Kane explained. They had no idea they were actually challenging an entire civilization built on the principle of mutual aid. When they heard Captain Vasquez's SOS, they probably thought it was just a death cry from a defeated enemy. Kane smiled as he looked around the assembly hall. They were wrong. It was not a death cry. It was a call to arms, and humanity answered. The council voted unanimously to approve Kane's recommendations. The 7th Deep Space Reconnaissance Fleet would be expanded into a new branch of the military, called the Rapid Response Force. 12 new fleets would be built and stationed throughout human space, ready to respond to any emergency. But more importantly, the Council established a new protocol for all human vessels. Every ship, from the largest military vessel to the smallest civilian transport, would monitor emergency frequencies at all times. If anyone anywhere in human space sent out an SOS signal, help would come. After the council session ended, Kane found Elena Vasquez waiting for him outside the assembly hall. "Admiral," Elena said, "I wanted to thank you again for saving my crew." Kane shook his head. "Captain, you don't need to thank me. We were just doing our job," Elena smiled. "That's exactly my point. When I sent out that SOS, I was hoping maybe 1 or 2 ships might hear it and come to help. I never imagined that 17 of humanity's most advanced warships would drop everything and race across space to rescue a bunch of scientists." Kane thought about this. "Captain, what did you think would happen when you sent out a distress call?" "I thought maybe someone would try to help if it was convenient for them," Elena replied. "I never thought anyone would risk their lives for strangers." Kane looked out the window at Earth's blue sky. Somewhere up there in the darkness of space, human ships were spreading across the galaxy. They carried explorers and scientists, traders and colonists, people looking for new worlds and new opportunities. But now they also carried something else, the promise that no human would ever face danger alone. "Captain," Kane said, "that's where you were wrong about us. We don't help people because it's convenient. We help people because it's who we are." As Elena walked away, Kane thought about the message that humanity's victory had sent to the galaxy. Other alien species had undoubtedly detected the battle at Kepler 442. They had seen recordings of human ships working together with perfect coordination. They had witnessed the destruction of a technologically superior enemy. Most importantly, they had learned that humans would travel across space to rescue their own people. The SOS that Elena Vasquez sent out had done more than save her crew. It had announced to the galaxy that humanity was not just another spacefaring species. Humanity was the species that answered distress calls. In the depths of space, alien civilizations intercepted fragments of the battle recordings. The message was clear. A new player had arrived on the galactic stage, and they had brought the most sophisticated warships ever built to protect anyone who called for help. The SOS had been answered. But more than that, it had shown the galaxy what humans were truly capable of when they worked together. Elena Vasquez had called for help using 3 simple letters, and she had summoned not just 17 warships, but the collective strength of an entire civilization. The aliens had called humans primitive mammals, but they had learned the truth. Humanity was the most sophisticated civilization the galaxy had ever seen, not because of their technology, but because of their willingness to help each other. And that was a message that would echo across the stars for generations to come.